Good morning and welcome to Kramer's Corner. It is Friday the 20th of June. Sorry about the late release or publication here. I had a meeting this morning, so it is a little bit late. I do apologize about that. But US was closed yesterday, so not much action has been going on in general. This video is for educational purposes only. There is no advice or recommendation whatsoever intended. But let's start with Google or Alphabet C share. Not yesterday, day before yesterday, Wednesday, it was sold off a bit, and we have some support here around 172.90. We have the 200 moving average coming up, giving some support. However, the 100 is declining, but 55 coming up here. So it seems like we are having a little bit setback after breaking barriers out of this triangle, not triangle, wedge-like pattern. But let's see if it will drop below and close below 172 or not. If it does, well, then there could be further setback down to around 165, 167 area. But then there will be some support right there. On the overall indices, well, not much going on, of course. Pre-markets, we had a little bit of volatility on the futures yesterday, and pre-market, well, we tested the support there at 5,919 on S&P 500. On the Nasdaq, also tested the 21,430 on the US Nasdaq 100 CFD, and the Dow Jones CFD, well, also dipped lower but has bounced somewhat. So let's see what's going on today. We can just very quickly move back to Nasdaq 100, 21,475 on the actual index, the cash index. That will be key towards the support here on the short term. In Asia, a little bit bounced back today, but we are in a correction phase. It bounced from between the 61.8 and the 786 retracement. Still positive sentiment on the RSI, but there was divergence there, so we could still see it dipping lower to around 23,000. If it moves back above 24,000, then I think uptrend will resume. On the Nikkei, well, not much to say. Still above this rising trend line there, so we are still in an uptrend. It's fragile, however, but higher high, higher low, higher high, and let's see if we can get a new higher high here after this corrective phase. If it starts moving back below the 200 moving average, then we have a different situation, but I think we will see it bounce. Europe was open yesterday, and EUROSTOXX was lower, and this morning it has bounced, but we were below the 5,228 support. Now trying to get back above, but now there's negative sentiment on the RSI, so there's a risk that we could see lower levels down to around 5,100, where we also have the 200 moving average coming up, adding to the support. So if we get down there, then I think we'll see a bounce, possibly also a strong bounce because of the 200, but also because of the cloud. We have that support. Here we have the CFD testing and bouncing from 5,200. It's 5,200 support. The DAX index yesterday also sold off to just above 23,021. Minor support. It's not the strongest one. The stronger one is actually 22,818, where we could see it dipping to. Also negative sentiment on the RSI, and could dip lower. And let's just see the future, not the future, the CFD that is bouncing, but it is in a bearish trend. Could still dip to 22,850 support, where we have the 55 moving average and the 100 moving average giving some support there. On the FX side, euro dollar dipped to the lower rising trend line, and seems to be bouncing. And if it does, well, then if it takes out 116 and a quarter, then I think we'll see a push towards 117, 118. I think that is the scenario that is most likely to play out. But of course, there's no certainties, but we are still in a bullish trend for now. So positive RSI sentiment, but there is divergence. As you can see, the values here are lower than over here, but market here is higher. So it is a little bit fragile, but I think we will see further confirmation and new energy to the upside if it takes out the peak. The sterling dollar actually managed to bounce back after it dipped to the 50% retracement of this uptrend there, but it managed to bounce from it and is back in this range here. So a false break maybe. So we are still caught range bound basically between 134.15 and 136.30. The Euro sterling, a little bit setback, still in a bullish trend, no divergence on the RSI. I think we will see it push up to the 61.8, just below 86. Yen pairs, let's just resize that. Yen pairs, dollar yen still testing the upper part of cloud, testing the minor resistance here at 145.50. So that will be key. Can it close above it? It spiked above yesterday, but it's still close below. So that seems to be key. I think if it have another go and take out the spike up from yesterday at 145.80, then we will also see it spiking above 146.30 resistance here. But then we have the 100 moving average come down, but we could see a push up to the 786 retracement at 147.25. But for now, still struggling, and RSI also being rejected at 60 threshold. Euro yen spiked higher this morning, and once again, can it follow through? It seems to be sliding back there. If it takes out the peak today, yes, that is very short term, but if it does, then I think we're looking at 168.40, possibly 169 in this bullish push here. So what I will do, I will actually, if I was trading it, I will say, okay, this is the if it moves back below 166, then we are in for a correction. But for now, we are still in a bullish trend on Euro yen. Aussie yen, well, it is still this 94.80 resistance, the 786 retracement. That is the key. It needs to be taken out. Could slide back. So at the moment, it's wait and see, to be honest, for on Aussie yen. Sterling yen bounced from the lower rising trend line. Can it get back above? And if it takes out the spike up there at 196.85, then I think we'll see it push up to 198, possibly higher. Aussie dollar, well, still this slightly uptrend here, bouncing from the lower rising trend line, and the 65.50 resistance, that is key for Aussie dollar. So keep an eye on that. And the dollar Canada spiked up. We talked about it yesterday, and it could, and it did spike up to 137.50 resistance, and then back. If it takes it out, well, then I think we'll see a push up to the resistance and 61.8 retracement at 138.35, and then I think we will see a setback. But we could also just see it sliding back lower here, and if it slides back, and let's remove that one, I think I will actually, I believe if we move back below 136.35, 136.30, then the downtrend is likely to resume with lower levels below 135. Sterling Canada, I need to lock this again. Sterling Canada, the bounce continues as we talked about yesterday. And what I will do, I will remove this one and then add a new one and say, okay, so this is the bounce, and likely to bounce to the 61.8 retracement at 185.46, possibly up to 186. I think if we move back above 186, uptrend is likely to resume with a push higher. Let's also remove this rising trend line there. It's actually obsolete now. Euro Swiss, still this range trading behavior. So let's move on to dollar Swiss. Dollar Swiss bounced to the 38.2 retracement at 82.17, basically spot on. And that is now setting back a little bit. There's negative sentiment on the RSI, so downtrend could very well resume unless it can get back above 82.50. a close back above 82.50, well, then it could give a further fuel higher. But for now, I think we will see it sliding lower and test these lows here around 80.40 and 80.55. On the dollar index, well, rejected at the the falling trend line there, didn't even get out to the 38.2 retracement before being rejected, and we could see a retest of the lows here fairly shortly, despite the fact that there is some RSI divergence, but downtrend seems to be fairly strong. If it can take out the falling trend line there, then we could see a spike up to 99.34, possibly higher, but it seems to be a little bit of a struggle. Gold currently below the very short-term rising trend line, so there is a risk to setting it back to the 3,300 level, 3,293 support here, and the 55 moving average coming up. And I think if we get down there, then I think we will see a bounce. But if it takes out 3,245, then we have a completely trend change. But for now, let's see where it ends this week, and can it bounce here later today and close back above the very short-term rising trend line. That could be key for the coming week. Silver got smashed after actually pushing higher here, didn't get all the way up to 138.2. Projection of that little move up there, but let's just remove it because it's a bit obsolete now. So we have some support here, a little bit of support there at 35.45 that it seems to be bouncing just above. But if it takes out that, well, then we are looking at 34.80 and possibly down to 34 level, but I'm not quite sure we'll get all the way down there. But keep an eye on those levels, they are key. The platinum spiked higher to 1350 and a bit, and then sat back, and so it was a new high, took out the 2021 high, and now we are also in for a correction. It actually, same day, it actually dipped to the 61.8 retracement here at 1265. If it takes it out, well, then this support down here, and let's just add it to it, this support down here around 1213 could come under pressure. If it takes out the peak up there, well, then we are looking at 1400 level. And copper still in this range trading behavior here. We do have a little bit of positive sentiment on the RSI. We are above the cloud, we are above 100 moving average, but the 55 seems to be dragging on it, but we're also above the cloud. So I think it's just a question of time before it will push higher, but I need confirmation, so I want to see it at least above 495 to believe it. On the inside, and WTI crude oil, this early morning spike to test the peak here at 77.60. Didn't take it out. It was actually a few cents from it. So let's see here. Need to adjust this a little bit. It's actually at 72.62, and this morning 77.58. So a few cents from it got rejected. If it doesn't take it out, if it takes it out, then I think we are looking at 80 plus. And looking at the weekly chart, I think it's prudent to do that. So then we could see it spike up to 80, spot 77. If it starts sliding back, well, and back below 72.25, then we could slide back to 69 level. The Brent crude oil actually spiked higher yesterday. But there is now divergence on the RSI. As we can see, the RSI is declining. Market moved higher, so we are a little bit stretched here, and I think we could also see it setting back. But there's some strong support here with the 200 moving average coming around here, just around 72.50. EU nat gas spiked to the 200 moving average. We actually talked about it yesterday morning that it could do that. And now it's setting back to test the 40 level, 40 support, but positive sentiment on the RSI indicating we could see a push up to 44 actually now. If it takes out the spike up from yesterday, then I think we'll see it moving up to 44 euros. US nat gas really pushing higher, also positive sentiment on the RSI, above the cloud, above the resistance here, and I think we see a push up to around 4.25, maybe 4.30, where we have some resistance here around 4.25, and then I think we'll see a little bit of a setback. On the yield side, range bound between 4.51 on the US Treasury 10-year Treasury yield and 4.30. That is the one you should keep an eye on. 100 moving average decline, dragging it down a little bit, but 55 pushing it higher, and also 200 coming up here. So I think we'll see it crawling higher here eventually, and there's still positive sentiment on the RSI. The 2-year doesn't really do much, still range bound. But moving on to the European yields, EU 10-year, well, it is sliding lower here, still in this declining trend here, but still 242 support, that is key. If it takes out that, well, then we'll look at 235, 230. UK 10 also here between 460 and 445. Finally, on the crypto side, very calm. Bitcoin above the 55 moving average, so not much to report really. It seems to be, is it forming a triangle-like pattern? Let's do some trend lines and see what can it give us a little bit of a guidance maybe. There could be something going on there, but let's see. These trend lines are not that strong, but it could give it a bit of an idea. Will it just form that triangle-like pattern? Still 100,000 is the key support area, and Ethereum, well, it still has higher lows here, so it's still technically in an uptrend, but it is fragile. But let's see if it takes out, and I will actually draw a trend line on that one. Say, okay, if it takes out 2,682, then I think it will have another push towards 2,900. All right, that's all for today and this week. Have a nice weekend. Talk to you again Monday.